Good evening. This is Richard Lowe, the Writing King, and this is Author Talk. I'm here with Deece Casillas. Hopefully I pronounced that right.
You got it.
And he is an internationally touring stand-up comedian, writer, and host of the weekly talk show, The Social Hour. He just filmed his comedy special, Not Your Cup of Tea. I'm a ghostwriter, a LinkedIn branding expert, and a writing coach. So I do all those things. And well, let's just get right into the interview. Deece, how are you today?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me here. This is great. So
Absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. I see you have, it looks like comic books in the background there.
yeah. This isn't even the whole, that's only about a third of the room. It's a pretty big collection.
Looks like me and my model kit collection.
Yeah. I mean, I've got stuff that dates all the way back to the 40s. Some golden age, silver age stuff. Got a pretty big collection.
Yep. Yeah, I used to have a collection of comic books. They were more modern ones. Brought them to the comic book store to sell some of them, and they said they would give me a nickel each, and I got rid of my comic book collection.
Yeah. There's really, modern stuff. There's hardly any value in it besides a couple, key books. Other than that, that won't give you anything. The older stuff's the only thing that's really worth anything, because they used to just throw them away or use them as insulation for houses and stuff, all kinds of crazy crap.
I know. I had a couple of high value ones. I think a couple early X-Men and Adam Strange and Doctor Strange and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they bought all those for some money. I made maybe $500, but the rest of them were just waste paper.
Yeah, most comic book stores they'll fleece you on them, man. You got to go sell them on eBay or something like that. Comic book stores will give you maybe, and I get it, they got overhead, it's a business, but they'll give you pennies on the dollar for what they'll sell them for.
Yep, and of course they get overloaded with all the modern stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, they've got a ton of the crap that just they've got buckets of it. Everyone's coming in with it, wanting to sell it. So
yes, and this might be slightly controversial, but most of the modern stuff is crap, in my opinion.
I think there's a lot of it that is. Yeah, there's a couple things out there I read still every month that's still good, has some merit, but most of it's, especially the mainstream stuff, is pretty better days are behind them.
Yeah, I used to get into, I was into Marvel heavy for a long time, and then I got into stuff like Omaha the Cat Dancer and Zippy the Pinhead. I'm sure you recognize those names.
Yeah. I mean, the big problem with the industry is the big two, Marvel and DC, are owned by Disney and Warner Brothers respectively now. So when you're a part of a conglomerate corporation that just has to toe the line for everything and make everything just palatable for everyone, you end up just shooting down the middle, and it's nothing. It's neither fish nor fowl. It just becomes nothing. You can't get creative or edgy or actually have a definitive direction that pushes boundaries, because you have to just make sure it doesn't rock the boat.
Yeah, I wish sometimes the days when I was younger were there, when before TSR, the gaming company, did D&D, bought D&D back when it was more amateur. It was much better.
Yeah.
Now it's just a big product.
Yeah.
Same with comic books. Same with a lot of Pixar back before it was bought by Disney was really good.
Yeah.
I guess that's natural now, as they make money. Infocom, if you remember them, they became Activision.
No, I don't remember that, but yeah, I know the name Activision. So yeah, it happens. Everyone, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right? Isn't that? I think Jesus said that. I'm not sure.
It's true. Yeah. Well, we kind of got off on a tangent there, but why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? So you're a comedian?
Yeah. So I'm a touring stand-up comedian. I've been doing comedy for a long time. I just filmed my first special, Not Your Cup of Tea, available now at deececomedy.com, just my first name and comedy.com. We're doing a special right now. It's available for donation only, so you can name your price $1 all the way up to $1 million, and you'll get the link for the download. But
I'll be sure and go put $1 million on that tomorrow.
Yeah. At least I've had people throw in $1, you still get it. You throw in $20, you still get it. Anything helps in the old coffer there. So And yeah, writer, also working on my debut comic book, actually. That's kind of the next project that's coming down the chute pretty quick here. And yeah, been a writer done writing for different websites. I wrote for some punch up for some script stuff when I lived in LA, where I'm from, and all kinds of stuff.
You sound kind of like me, only I was more in the tech field.
Yeah.
So I started in tech for 33 years and then decided to become a writer full time, and that's what I do.
You kind of end up, it's like you don't have one full-time job, you have 18 part-time jobs. It becomes just every little trickle into the bucket.
Well, now I'm diversifying a bit, and I'm starting a line of PDFs that are courses on how to write.
Oh, okay.
And just started that, and then I'm also selling on eBay. I'm going to be selling what's it called, drop shipping on eBay, and I'm selling a lot of junk that I have. Well, it's not junk; it's good stuff. But
yeah,
probably my Omaha the Cat Dancer comic books.
There you go. There's a market for it out there somewhere.
Well, I have original hardcovers that are signed, so
man,
they should be worth a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're just collecting dust. So
yeah, eventually you just got to let them go. That's what I keep thinking. I hope I have a buddy who loves. I don't have any kids, so I hope I have a buddy that loves comic books, because they're going to get a hell of a collection when I die.
Well, I just looked around and thought, I've got about 50 grand worth of stuff here that's just collecting dust. It's time to sell it on eBay.
Yeah.
Some of it, anyway. Some of it.
Should have hit it during COVID, man. Everyone had that extra money they were burning. I'll tell you what, the comic book market was crazy then. All the collectible market, people were just spending all that extra money on trying to, rebuy their childhood. And
Yeah, I understand. My business went up during COVID too. People wanted to write books. That's mostly what I do, is write books.
Okay.
48 for other people so far.
Wow.
In 10 years.
Are you allowed to talk about any of them, or any of the ones you've like?
I wrote about an Afghani politician that was quite interesting. He had a different life. A lot of metaverse and AR and AI type books. Children's book on artificial intelligence. Children's book on cyberbullying. And young adult book. Young adult book's my favorite. It's my favorite story. The lady was she was 78 years old, and she had a dream of writing a book all her life of her dreams.
Yeah.
So she hand wrote all her dreams. She hand wrote all her dreams. I had to translate all that, transcribe. And she wanted me to write her a book based on those dreams. So we did. It took 16 months. Got published. She was so happy, and she passed away 3 months later. But she achieved her goal.
Well, hey, sometimes that's all it takes. You just want to say you did it, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, my advice to anybody is, if you're thinking about a book or any kind of big item, just do it. If it's important, you'll figure out how.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I self-published a book like 2009, 2010 it probably was. So about 12 years ago. And yeah, you just kind of figure it out, the writing, the editing, the publishing, you just kind of figure it out. So
yeah, I found that if it's important to you, you'll find the money, you'll find the way.
Yeah.
I'm a premium ghostwriter, so I'm expensive by most people's minds, but if it's important, you'll find a way to do it. If it's not important, you won't.
Right.
That's the way it works in life,
Yeah, 100%.
When people come to me and say the book's the most important thing in their life, it's a bucket list item, and then they can't do it or won't do it.
Yeah.
I guess it's not the most important thing in their life.
Well, I think, it's so funny. I talk about this all the time. That, I think people are just scared. What's familiar is comfortable for them. So it's easy. And, it's not that those other things maybe aren't important, but man, they just taking those steps are hard and scary. And it's easier to just live in misery or unhappy with what you're doing than to push through the uncomfortable phases to get to the things that'll make you happy.
Yeah, my attitude is don't step out of the box, just get rid of the box entirely.
Yeah.
Why are you in a box?
Yeah, it's I mean, when you talk about things like stand-up comedy, if I sat down and told someone what it took to get to where I am today, being able to do stand-up comedy full time, I've been able to do it that way for several years, which, I mean, there's there's comedians I know that have Netflix specials that still have a job, because it can be tough to really make a living at it. And, there were times when the logistics of it seemed crazy. Like no one would, no one would ever start, it's like, oh yeah, I would get off work at 6 p.m. and drive, 3 hours to do a show and get paid $20 to do 5 minutes. And then I'd have to drive 3 hours back because they didn't give me a hotel. And I did that Thursday, Friday, Saturday while working my day job. And it's like, you do that for 8 years, and then maybe you'll start making some real money at it. It just seems crazy.
It seems crazy, and it is crazy, but that's the way you become great at what you're doing, is you just do it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories with comedians is, have you ever heard of Mick Foley?
Oh yeah.
WWE wrestler. Yeah. He of course broke his back numerous times and had lots of other things. So finally he mostly retired from wrestling, and I say mostly. And he became a writer, and he wrote his 2 autobiographies, and he wrote about 10 other fiction books, and he's really good. And then he became a comedian. So I was like, okay, and he was going to be at a venue in Tampa, which is close to me.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, cool, I got to go meet Mick Foley, and there was a VIP seat ready. So I was just about ready to buy the VIP seat on April 30th, 2020.
Oh yeah. And the world, ground to a halt.
Yeah, just 2 days before the pandemic, ground to a halt, and it was gone, and he hasn't come back to Tampa yet. And I wanted to sit down, and I got the meet and greet tickets and everything. I was going to, and
yeah,
he's had a varied life. And
yeah. I met him once at a club I was working at years ago, that he came through and performed at. So nice guy. Seemed like it.
Somebody I want to meet. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I did meet the Undertaker for about 3 seconds.
Okay.
Just because I was photographing WWE from the second row. Those are expensive seats, by the way.
I would imagine.
But they let you keep the seat. You can bring it home. It's a pull-up chair. You can bring it home with you. And has the wrestler printed on it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like I want Hulk Hogan to bash someone over the back with this thing. Then I'm taking it home. Yeah.
That day I went to the WWE at Staples Center in Los Angeles, and I decided to take the bus. Then I didn't know they gave away the seats. So I had to come home on the bus with the damn seat.
Well, actually, that's probably great because you don't want to use the seats the bus in the LA transit system has. Those are horrible seats. They're like, you're going to get syphilis that way. You should bring your own seat.
Well, yeah, and everybody's looking at me funny because the Undertaker's on the seat, and I got the seat still.
Yeah,
it's not worth anything. I mean, if I got him to sign it, it'd be worth something. But I only had 3 seconds. Hi, I'm Richard. Thanks, bye.
So, still something.
Guy's 7 feet tall.
Yeah,
huge.
I would like. I'm not a huge as a kid. I was a wrestler. I liked wrestling because I think every kid did. As I kind of grew out of it, but I have this bucket list to go to a WrestleMania sometime before I die, which is likely soon. So I should.
I've been to 3 pay-per-views live. All of them were from the second row or third row.
Yeah,
those are about $500 seats. They're much more now. They're $1,000 seats now.
Dang.
And it was fun. It was interesting, and I wouldn't want to do it from the back row or anything.
Yeah, you got to be. That's part of that. If you're not close, you're not really feeling it.
Oh, I was feeling it.
You end up watching it on the big monitor instead of watching the actual game. I mean, I've gone to sporting events and stuff like that, like UFC events, where you get too far back and you're like, I'm just watching the giant TV up there instead of watching the actual. I might as well stay home.
Exactly. Yeah, I was close enough where I was getting the sweat off the body sometimes.
Oh my God!
A friend of mine likes to go to the more, what is it, UFC? It's the hardcore one, and she said they put plastic on you so that you don't get all bloody.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And she loves that stuff.
At SeaWorld, first 3 rows, you got to be careful.
Yeah, it was a blood splash zone, and she loved it. She went there all the time, and I'm not into that hardcore stuff. I started in the WWE, watching WWE. It was WWF at the time, because it's one of the few things that the wife and I had in common.
Oh, wow.
She liked it, which is very strange for a woman to like that. And she'd be like, "God, kill him, you know," screaming at them.
Whatever you can bond over, right? Whatever brings you together.
Well, she was very sick from smoking and not cancer, lung disease. So
Ah,
she sat there and watched the pay-per-views with me, and
hey,
it was good.
yeah. I mean, it's something, and like I said, anything to bond over.
Yeah, it was a bonding moment for sure. For sure, got to learn all the storylines. Couldn't miss them for Steve Austin and The Rock and the other guys. I don't remember their
Yeah,
names
that
anymore.
was the heyday for him. That
The
was
'90s,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, the '90s and early 2000. It was that's my time of wrestling.
yeah.
Now it's been toned down. They try to make it PG, and it's just not the same anymore.
I feel like that's everything though. Although some of those guys are still like I was listening to an interview with Ric Flair recently, and
Yeah.
he wrestled in the WWE is it like 3 years ago or something he was saying. I'm like, dude, you're like 72 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like these guys are still out there doing it.
And it makes you wonder, are they doing it or are they just at that point acting? Because wrestling is real. It's choreographed,
Sure.
but it's still real.
Sure.
You're still getting banged over the head with a chair.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this Hulk Hogan was talking one time about how he can hit someone in the head with a hammer, a ball peen hammer, and he does it in a way that like it doesn't actually like if you hit someone with a hammer, you think you're gonna crack their skull open. He's like, no, I can do it, and you would, it'll hurt, but you'll be fine. I'm like, how do you? I mean, that's real. You can't fake that,
Right. Same with the chair and same with the tombstone and stuff. People break their necks with a tombstone. It's actually a very dangerous thing. I don't think they do them anymore.
Yeah.
You know what the tombstone was? It's hold somebody upside down and drop them down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now I'm trying to figure out how to sell my stamp collection. The problem with stamps is they're very tiny and you have to catalog them and then sell them one at a time, and it's very pain in the butt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, any of that. But again, it's that whole niche. You find someone who's into it, you can, they'll go. You just gotta find that market.
Well, I'm going to go through and find the high values first, because most of it's waste paper, just like comic books.
Yeah.
And then sell those, and then probably bring the rest to a comic book or to a stamp shop and get like a nickel each or something.
Yeah, at least just move them,
Just get rid of them. But I want to get the high values out first.
Yeah.
I got some Disney stamps and things that are probably worth some money.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, and there's a market for everything out there. Girls are selling their farts online. You can.
I know. That's bizarre to me.
Yeah, but hey, a BOGO sale's a BOGO. I couldn't pass it up. So.
Yeah, that's just bizarre to me, but whatever,
Hey, you got to make that money. It's a down economy. What are you going to do?
It is a little bit down. It's interesting, and we just had a hurricane here just passed through. By the way.
Oh, was it
Adalia? I think it's called.
Okay, yeah.
They're running out of names. It missed us, my area. It still was very wet and very rainy and very, very windy, but we didn't get the eye of the storm that was further north.
Oh, yeah.
Tampa barely got. I mean, the storm surge was apparently deadly. 16-foot storm surge. That's huge.
Yeah. Man, you got to be careful out there in Florida. And it's that storm season rolls through. Although California just got one too, which was the first time since like 1927, I think, or
something like that. Yeah, it was the first. Yeah. It was the second one in recorded history.
Yeah, jeez.
Well, weather's changing.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not a scientist. I don't know why. I don't even think the scientists know why. So,
they say they do, but they want funding. So
yeah, I don't believe anything those guys say. It's like again, I'm not a scientist, but it's like we've cut down what is it, like 80% of the trees in the world, and then we wonder why we're the air is different, why we're heating up, and like, do we not understand what trees do, how cooling and the oxygen effect they have on our atmosphere? But it's probably the cows. You're right. It's probably the cows.
It's probably the diesel engines and stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, it's I don't know.
It is what it is. I'm getting to the point where I'm not wise enough to know. So Stay out of it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't think anyone's wise enough to know. I think it's just whoever, buys them and, gives them enough money to say what they need them to say. That's
Yep. Yep.
that seems more like the case that's happening now. It's not, it's just whatever like BlackRock and Vanguard decides is best for us right now. The people who just own everything in the world, like, oh, you own social media, the food, the news corporations, and the pharmaceutical corporations. Okay.
Yeah, it's all very strange. I just one of the things that I've written on recently is about logical fallacies and cognitive biases. If you're familiar with those.
Yeah.
And one of them is the authority bias, which is where you appeal to an authority. That authority becomes basically the center of everything that you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And like Greta Thunberg.
Sure.
Greta Thunberg's not a climatologist.
Right.
She's a young lady who spoke on climate. She's very passionate.
Sure.
No doubt. But
probably with good intentions.
Good intentions, not doubting that. But why would I listen to her?
Right. Yeah.
Or the Playboy Bunny who said vaccines were bad. I mean, Playboy Bunny. If you remember that.
What's her name? Jenny McCarthy.
That's it. You dredged that up from archive storage, I think.
Yeah, I had to go back and pull that. So in 1994.
She said that vaccines are bad and they hurt her kids and all that, and everybody believes her. But she's a Playboy Bunny. She's not a person who's expert in vaccines.
Yeah.
Why would I listen to her? So it's appeal to authority bias, and there's people fall to that a lot, and I think social media made it worse, a lot worse.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, social media gave everyone a voice, and not everyone needs a voice. I think most people don't need a voice. Is the problem? Well, the bias of social media is what is made it that you can find your stupid clan and other people which just bolsters your dumb ideas, and it allows you to feel more confident in your dumb ideas, and then just keep espousing them. And get rewards, like some sort of treats for your idiotic thoughts.
Well, one of the things that reinforces that is the echo chambers. Are you familiar with those?
Oh yeah.
And just for the audience, an echo chamber is like when you start getting information back that is what you believe. So the only information that you see is what you want. And that's what all of the news sources are doing now, and all of the social media and so forth, because of advertising. Advertising wants you to, if you're interested in chocolate bars, they want you to go see chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Not other things. So it produces an echo chamber, which means if you're on the left or the right or the center or whatever politically, you only see stuff that reinforces your belief.
Right.
And that is very bad for society.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not only just seeing it, but we've created a society where we've closed ourselves off to any dialogue that isn't exactly what we believe, which doesn't solve anything. Like, I'm not, it's like there's a gentleman. I'm going to forget his name right now, and I feel really bad because he's a really, really intelligent guy. But he's this he's actually a musician by trade. He was this a black blues musician, and he's made it his life goal to talk to Klan members about their beliefs. And he's actually had something like 60 Klan members turn their robes over to him, because after having just an open dialogue with these people, they realize that their racist ideas are incorrect, and they had it foul. They were uneducated on race relations, and so many people wouldn't even be willing to have a dialogue with someone they fundamentally disagree with on something like that. Whereas you have to be able to talk to these people who believe different things than you and have a reasonable discourse. Otherwise, you're just creating a larger divide. There's no chance for reconciliation here. Yeah,
I've got a good story about that. When I was growing up, it was in the 70s when I went to high school, and they started busing. Junior high, excuse me. When they started the desegregation, they started busing black kids to white schools, white kids to black schools. And we had a black kid come to our school. Now, my parents taught me that black people are evil and they will kill you and blah, blah, blah. I mean, really prejudiced stuff. So I believed it, of course.
Yeah.
And
I've been to Florida. I get it.
well, I was in California at the time.
Oh, okay. I grew up in California. I get it.
Yeah. So that's the way I grew up. And then I got on the bus and I looked around. There's only one seat left. Switched to a black kid. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. And I was nervous and sweaty. And, I mean, I really honestly thought, because of what my parents told me, that he was going to kill me. That's what they do. So I sat next to him because I had no choice. And then I looked at him. He was just as scared of me as I was of him.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, my parents lied.
Yeah.
And from then on, we became best friends through the whole junior high. We used to spend hours and hours and hours together. And it was interesting, the side effect, because I was hanging out with the only black kid who was kind of bulky. All the white kids who were beating me up left me alone. It was quite funny. And I was the nerd. I was a scientist.
Yeah.
I got beat up all the time. So we became best friends. And since then, I couldn't care less about color, race, religion, whatever. As long as you're not a jerk, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because why would I?
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There's people in some areas that literally, like, you take, there's areas of like the Appalachians or West Virginia where you have these white people in these backwards ass towns still that literally probably never even met anyone darker than Tom Petty. Right. So like they don't, and it's just been this perpetuated racism. So like it's almost not their fault that they're racist, or have prejudices, because they've never experienced anything but that. Now, again, you get these people out in the world, you start having conversations with them, you get them exposure to other things. All of a sudden, most of them start to realize, oh, like this was some perpetuated lie that isn't actually real. But people are just so closed off now. They're not even willing to have conversations with people that don't agree with them 100%. And it's very dangerous. It's unfortunate, and it's dangerous because it's created. I think it happened even more during COVID with wherever you fall with vaccines, or wherever you fall with validity of COVID and facts around it and things like that. That was such a divide, and it got crazy, and like that, it's just gotten worse and worse. And maybe my conspiracy brain goes too far, but unfortunately, I feel like it's part of the. It's not without reason. I think a country divided is very easy, and people divided are very easy to control.
Well, I actually did a book on misinformation and disinformation and stuff like that. And the divide, a lot of the divide in the United States is actually part of Russia doing it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They are intentionally dividing the United States because it's soft power and it's cheap.
Yeah.
And they don't have a lot of hard power that they can use against the United States, missiles and things. So they use soft power. And one of those things is to create a divide. Now, they did affect the election. They didn't care who won.
Right. They just wanted dissent.
They just wanted dissent. They wanted the chaos.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they were just as surprised as everybody else that Trump won.
Yeah.
But I think Trump was equally surprised that he won.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think he ever really wanted to do it. It just steamrolled.
I think he wants to do it now, but back then.
Sure. Well, now I think he wants to do it now. I think he just wants to. The same thing. It's just an ego thing of like, I need to show these people that I'm bigger, better, than they are. It's just an ego thing. If you shot him with sodium pentothal, and asked him if he really wanted to be the president, he'd be like, no, I want to be, fucking doing methamphetamines in Mar-a-Lago, playing golf. And, it's like, but he also he can't look weak.
Well, it's power. And he had power then. He had fun. I'm sure it was hilarious and fun. And I'm not going to get into the Trump versus no Trump versus Biden argument because it's not my thing. And the elections are far away, and I'm going to worry about it closer if I worry about it at all.
Yeah.
But I'm going to turn off social media because it's going to get bloody.
Yeah. It's a mess. It's real unfortunate because I have My view is that they're like, if you're an elected official, you're a criminal. I don't care what color tie you wear. So you're dirty and you've committed crimes and you will commit crimes and you don't have the people's best interests in mind. And that, in a nation where mostly half the nation is red or dead or blue through and through or whatever, it's like, I'm like, I hate both you guys. I don't know.
I think with rare exceptions, and they tend to be at the local level,
Sure.
you're correct. The local people, I think, tend to be reasonably not criminals and not as corrupt. But as they
Yeah.
get higher, they have to sell out, because how else do you fund? I mean, it costs $1 billion to become president now.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you do that? How did Obama raise that much money?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, well, it's the power, power corrupts. No one can get that much juice and not, I think it'd be impossible. Even people who go and altruistic and people with good morals and ideals, I think there's no way to do it without getting truly corrupted by the system. And also, I think it's a self-selecting group, though. I think if you want to pursue that, I think you probably already have a personality disorder of some sort.
Narcissism comes to mind.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, it's hard. I firmly believe that anybody who gets to that level of power is a narcissist.
Yeah.
Because they have to be.
Sure. Yeah.
Same with anybody who's a billionaire. I mean, probably there are exceptions, but how else do you make $1 billion? You step on people.
Yeah.
You become ruthless. I mean, Gates and Jobs were ruthless.
Yeah.
That's not saying they're bad. And they're utterly ruthless. And that's how they became multi-billionaires. And Elon Musk, same thing.
Yeah.
And that's narcissism.
Yeah. Well,
They're more important than
they get you a yacht in Prague, I guess.
I mean, Musk will fire somebody at drop of a pin, without even thinking about it. Well, that's narcissism. I mean, what about those people? What about their feelings and so forth?
Sure. Yeah.
He didn't care.
Yeah. You kind of got to have that attitude to get that
And
to that level.
Yeah, he's the richest man in the world. I think or at least one of the top ones.
He's definitely up there. I think there's at least it's recorded. I mean, in America for sure. There's a lot of like Saudi oil barons that have like trillions of dollars that we will, but they don't actually like reveal how much they have. But
speaking of trillions, how the heck did Apple become a $3 trillion company so fast?
Man, put out 10 iPhones a year. I guess I gotta just one headphone jack at a time. I gotta buy one dongle for every phone I get. That's a lot, it's an extra $10 a unit. Gotta buy an extra piece to plug my USB for my hard drive into my computer.
And my phone is 10 years old and it works fine.
Yeah.
No, I had to upgrade it 6 years ago because it needed to get the 5G. So it's a little bit younger, but
okay.
I don't tend to buy new phones. I mean, all I do is phones. I do phone and email and texting, and that's it. I don't do apps because I'm a security guy. I'm a cybersecurity guy, and those apps are, don't want to get near those.
Yeah, that's TikTok and all that stuff.
TikTok is Chinese espionage.
Yeah, 100%. What's real interesting it's about TikTok is that I mean, I don't know if you're doing the cybersecurity, I don't know how familiar you are with this, but that if you go on TikTok in China, what's shown to the kids is educational. It's like math problems, science stuff. That's what's in their algorithm there. And then you go to America, what's in the algorithm is just stuff completely dumbing down society.
Mm-hmm. And what they're doing is they're building profiles on everybody.
Yeah.
And monitoring communications and so forth. They know more about you than you do, probably.
Yeah.
If you're on TikTok.
I am not.
Yeah. I'm gonna use it for my business. I'm gonna start chopping up videos like this and put just 30 seconds of you saying something profound on TikTok. Maybe. If I can find something that'll do that automatic, because I'm not about to do it manually.
Yeah.
Just for the extra, hits. If it works, see if it works.
Sure.
But I haven't done that yet because I'm still debating whether it's worth the trouble.
Yeah, all my comedian friends are like, oh, you got to TikTok. It's a new thing. You got to get on TikTok. And I looked at it and I'm like, I don't want to do this. And this was even before all like the Chinese spying crap. I was just like, I can't learn another app. I don't give a shit. I'm already posting to Facebook and Instagram and like, I had Twitter, but I never was active on Twitter. I've had it for, 15 years. Was never active on it. I'm like, I can't do another one.
I'm pretty much centered on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's 3, and that's enough. Instagram, I'm thinking of doing because of the videos, and probably not TikTok, but I might, just because I got video here. I might as well take advantage of it. But it'll just be post and forget kind of stuff.
Yeah. But also the thing with TikTok too is you don't know what you're actually getting because the numbers they show you are a complete farce. There's so many bot accounts that you have no idea like the views you're getting. Like, are these real views? It's like
I suppose you can tell if you're monetized and you get money from it.
Yeah.
Don't know. Yeah. And Twitter I always considered the cesspool of the internet. It's always been terrible. I mean, Musk just made it worse. And it's going down fast. It's interesting watching that.
Yeah, I think the funny thing with that is I think Elon Musk knew this would be where it would go, and I have to say I respect the guy's willingness to be like 100% a free speech absolutist. Like this is it. And like at the cost of my whatever he paid for it, 45 million, or I don't even remember.
45 billion.
Billion, yeah. So like to have that ability of discourse for people, even as ugly as it can get, I think is still important for other aspects of, because I mean I hate to be a slippery slope guy, but the minute you start taking away and censoring things, it's like let's look at how many things during the pandemic did YouTube demonetize people for, deplatform people, did Facebook, Instagram demonetize, deplatform people for, that since then have been proven true. Not only have they been proven true, but they've been proven that they knew they were true at the time, but were still lying to us. And then those people are still deplatformed, demonetized. It's like, so, this whole like people get to decide what is real, what is good speak, what is, misinformation. Is like, it's a very dangerous game, because you're letting the people decide what you should hear, and like, that's just I mean, it's cliche, but Orwellian.
Well, it's Orwellian, but it's corporate based instead of government based.
Sure. Which one could argue are the same thing now, since the corporations have bought the government. Essentially, they own the government in a sense.
Well, I think the corporations moved into the government because the government wasn't doing its job. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they bought it so much out of wanting to. I think they bought it out of necessity. Government's not been doing its job for decades and decades and decades, other than maybe the military.
Sure. Yeah, I guess depending on well, I mean, lobbyists move in and they get to decide. It's like, hey, we bought your campaign, so we are buying your vote. Now you vote for this. Yeah, so which just helps the corporations, and then goes back to Disney owns everything.
Well, we're becoming a corporatoscopy, whatever, run by corporation kind of government, but it's behind the scenes, and that's probably one of the problems, is that we didn't vote in those people.
Right.
We didn't vote in corporates, but then again, well, I'm not going to go there about politics. I'm just going to stop talking about that.
Keep it safe. Okay, yeah.
This is not a political thing, and I'm not interested in talking politics.
That's all right. I get it.
Yeah, I don't get into those arguments. I'm getting too mature and it's for the younger folks.
Yeah, well, it's so in the weeds, there's just it's again, like I think they're all criminals. Everything's bought and paid for. So there's nothing. Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're coming on 45 minutes.
oh,
Been a nice talk.
yeah. Thank you.
Anything you want to say to your audience before we go away?
Yeah. Let's just go to deececomedy.com, check out everything going on. You can follow me on deece.comedy on Instagram. I am touring across the country. If you're in America, I'll be somewhere near you. You can check out my tour dates. You can buy the special at deececomedy.com. Again, for as little as just $1. And also, yeah, new comic book, debut comic book coming soon. More details on that will be released on Instagram. So follow me and you'll get that too. That's kind of the next. I'm trying to tour less and do more on the writing and the comic book. I've got a couple ones I'm working on. So those will be kind of the next chapter of my life.
Very nice. Well, thank you for coming to our Author Talks show. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you.
And this is Richard Lowe. I'm a ghostwriter, which means I write books for other people. I'm a writing coach. So if you're a writer, you need help, come see me. And I'm a LinkedIn branding expert. So if you're not getting any traction on LinkedIn, maybe I can help with that. And that's over and out until the next one. Thank you.